We used to fill the screen with love, not just words but pieces of ourselves. Late-night confessions typed out in whispers, sleepy emojis sent after long days, laughter tucked into voice notes, and care sealed with every check-in that said, "Did you eat?" or "Text me when you get home." It felt like a sacred place, our chat. A place that witnessed the beginnings, the high points, and the soft middle we tried to live inside for as long as we could. Back then, I thought love could live in messages. I thought if I kept responding, if I kept typing, if I kept sending parts of my heart through tiny blinking cursors and read receipts, that it would mean something, that you would stay. But now the screen is empty. Like us. Because I deleted all your messages. I stared at them for a long time before I did it. Scrolled through everything. Up, all the way to the beginning. That first hey that seemed so innocent, but held the weight of everything that came after. I saw the first heart emoji, the first "I miss you," the first photo you sent where your smile looked like home. The jokes only we understood, the ones that came with laughter so real it felt like medicine. We used to leave crumbs for each other in the digital world, little bits of warmth, of thought, of memory. But after a while it became a museum, a cold one, full of artifacts I didn't know how to handle. Messages that used to mean everything now sat there like furniture in an abandoned house. Dusty, quiet, cold. I kept scrolling, not looking for comfort, but for the exact moment everything changed. The moment you stopped showing up fully. The moment I started loving for the both of us. I read through your promises like scripture, hoping I'd missed something, hoping I could find the magic words that would have kept you here. But all I ever found was a question that broke me. How can someone say so much and mean so little? So I stopped. I stopped searching. I clicked the menu, and I pressed delete. When the screen asked me, "Are you sure?" I didn't hesitate. This time, I pressed yes. And just like that, the thread disappeared. All the love I tried to preserve. All the hope I held onto like a lifeline. All the maybe one days I whispered to myself when you were too quiet. Gone. It wasn't anger that made me do it. It was peace. For the first time in a long time, I felt it. Not because I stopped caring, but because I stopped carrying. Carrying the guilt, the self-blame, the endless wondering, if I had just loved you a little softer, or a little louder, or a little less or more, would you have stayed? But I see it clearly now. You left long before I pressed delete. You were already gone. I was just the one still trying to hold together a conversation with someone who stopped meaning their words a long time ago. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. Because no message you ever sent me brought me as much comfort as that one moment of choosing myself. Choosing to erase your words, not to forget you, but to remember me. And in the silence that followed, it was strange. Not loud, not even painful. Just quiet. A kind of quiet I wasn't used to. A kind of quiet that didn't come with the buzzing of notifications or the fake hope of, maybe they'll text today. It was just me. And for once, that didn't feel like a punishment. I didn't realize how much space your words took up, not just in my phone, but in my mind. The way I'd scroll through your "I miss you" on bad days, pretending it still meant something. The way I'd reread your compliments like they were promises, searching for sincerity in lines that were typed too easily, sent too quickly. The way I called dry replies just busy and half-hearted texts, love. I pretended it was enough, because I wanted it to be enough. But now that it's gone, I feel lighter, not fully healed, not whole, but lighter. I didn't wake up needing to check if you messaged. I didn't eat breakfast with your absence sitting across from me. I didn't stand in front of the mirror and wonder if I was too much or not enough. I just was. And that was enough. Peace doesn't always feel like fireworks. Sometimes it's just the soft sound of nothing where pain used to live. Sometimes it's just knowing that I no longer have to perform grief to prove that I loved you. Sometimes peace is deleting your messages and realizing you were silence dressed as affection, and I needed more than that. I deserved more than that. So I let it all go, and not with a scream or a dramatic closure moment. Just a quiet decision. Healing didn't start the moment you left. It started the moment I stopped letting your memory be louder than my own healing. And slowly, life began to return. I laughed again. A real laugh. Not the kind I forced around friends so they'd stop worrying, but the kind that slipped out when something dumb popped up online and I didn't think to share it with you. And the music, God, the music. The songs I used to skip because they reminded me of you, of us, of the way we used to fall asleep on call. I let them play. And they didn't hurt anymore. Not in the same way. They reminded me that I'd lived through something real, even if it didn't last. And even if it hurt, I made it through. One day in a bookstore I walked into just because I caught my reflection in the window, and I looked lighter, not perfect, not transformed, but just not carrying you anymore. I wasn't rewriting conversations in my head, wasn't stalking your page, wasn't holding on. I was moving, and not with someone else, with myself. I started texting people back again, started saying yes to plans, started taking pictures, not for you, not to send to anyone, but just for me, to keep them, to remember, because I was becoming the version of me I used to love, the one who didn't need someone else's words to feel worthy. And no, I'm not fully healed. I still have moments, nights where the silence gets heavy again, days when I remember the softness of your voice and wonder if you ever really heard mine. But now those moments pass quicker. They don't root in me like they used to, because that space, you no longer live there. I filled it with warm tea, on slow mornings, soft playlists that hold me gently, friends who don't just ask how I am but wait for the answer. I filled it with presence, with me. I used to think I needed you to love me properly to feel whole again. But I've realized something far more powerful. I needed me to come back to myself. And I did. It wasn't planned, meeting someone new. I wasn't searching. I wasn't scrolling through apps or forcing conversations. It just happened. A coffee shop, a quiet seat, a soft smile. No promises, no pressure, just ease. And in that ease, I felt something unfamiliar. Not butterflies. Those don't mean what I thought they did. But stillness. Like I could just be. They didn't ask me about you. Didn't ask about what I deleted. But they listened when I said softly, I'm still learning how to trust peace. And they smiled. That soft, kind, quiet smile that doesn't ask anything of you. That just says, I'll wait. I didn't need them to fix me. I just needed to feel safe. And they did that, not with words, but with presence, with patience, with realness. So when I said out loud, I deleted all their messages, they didn't try to rush me. They just nodded. Thank you for trusting me with that, they said, and then added, I'm not here to fix your past. I just want to build something honest from where you are now. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about replacing what I lost. It was about honoring where I've been, while gently letting something new begin. It was never about forgetting. It was about remembering who I am. Remembering that love isn't supposed to make you feel like you're begging for attention. That messages should come with meaning, not confusion. That care doesn't need reminders. And that peace, the real kind, is quiet, soft, slow, and always patient. We used to fill the screen with love. And now I fill it with me. I was tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't touch. The kind that sits beneath your skin and makes even breathing feel like effort. And they saw it, not just the slump of my shoulders or the silence in my eyes, but the invisible weariness that comes from carrying too much for too long. They didn't ask me to talk, didn't pressure me to smile. They just sat there, beside me, like peace, wearing a sweater. And in that quiet, where no one tried to rescue me from myself, I felt safe. We didn't fill the space with noise, no forced stories, no desperate distractions, just two people in the soft silence of understanding. I leaned my head back against the couch and closed my eyes. For the first time, it wasn't to escape. It was to rest. truly rest. The kind of rest that only comes when you no longer feel like you have to perform to be loved. And as the evening melted into night and the stars began their quiet vigil outside the window, I realized something I hadn't been brave enough to say out loud. I wasn't just grieving the loss of a person. I was grieving the version of me who thought love had to hurt to be true. I was mourning the girl who stayed up rereading cold messages, thinking if she deciphered them right, she'd unlock the warmth she used to know. I was releasing the version of myself that thought being chosen meant being chased, and being wanted meant waiting for scraps of affection. Now here I was, in the stillness of a night that asked nothing from me, sitting next to someone who never made me feel like too much or not enough. And in that subtle shift, I felt the ground beneath me change. Not a quake, not a shake, just a soft steadying. Like the earth was reminding me that healing isn't loud. It's a whisper, a presence, a gentle hand on the small of your back when you didn't even know you were swaying. I opened my eyes and looked at them,